Hi, eBay sellers. It's Suzanne A. Wells, and it's time for everyone's favorite eBay Supersize sales of $100 or more. And why do I say it's everyone's favorite? Because you guys tell me it's your favorite. So here we are. And I noticed that I seem to have an affinity for Muppet Plush. In the last Supersize sales video, the cover photo was the Swedish chef from the Muppets. So I guess unconsciously I'm gravitating towards the Muppet Show as we walk down memory lane doing these videos, because a lot of stuff in here is vintage and even came from my childhood. So that's what makes this so fun. So just a reminder that the sales shown in this video come from my Facebook group. We have a $100 Supersize sales thread every month. So that's where you want to add those sales, and they may appear in these videos. Rather than showing you hauls of what I bought and intend to sell, these videos show actual sales and all of the data that you need to become a better picker and more successful seller. So sellers post what they found, where they found it, how much they paid for it, and show us the actual completed sale. Historical data does not lie. So this is not what we think will sell, or we hope will sell, or I bought this to sell and I never listed it. This is the hard data that will help you be more successful. So all of that intro out of the way, let's look at what's sold. So we're going to start off with Marie Hamilton. She paid $11 at a thrift store using a 20% off coupon. Had this priced at $199, took best offer in about 6 weeks, which was $150. The item is vintage handmade Irish chain multicolored quilt, 96 by 98, queen size, signed by maker. And I just want to commend Marie on her title, because she got all the important information in that title. If you find a quilt and don't know what the pattern is, you can easily find that on Google. That's important. People know what pattern they're looking for. She's got the size in inches, as well as what size bed, vintage, and handmade. So again, $11 sold for $150. Great sale, Marie. Now we have Jennifer Elliott. She said, some flips are slow and some, though rare for me, are fast. Found this sealed and new item on the toy shelf at Goodwill. Bought for $4.99 and it sold within 3 days. The electric fence this dog collar goes to is out of production. So this is an Inotech Smart Dog extra collar receiver. And this sold for $220. So some teachable moments from this sale. Things get put in the wrong place all the time at the thrift store. Either customers pick it up and just throw it wherever when they decide they don't want it, or the employees don't put it in the right place, or kids pull stuff off the shelves and throw it on the floor, and then somebody comes along and picks it up and puts it somewhere. So that's why I look at everything, because items get put in the wrong place. Another teachable moment is that the electric fence this dog collar goes to is out of production. That could mean a lot of things. That could mean it's an older model and somebody needs an extra. It could be a COVID issue because manufacturing still has not caught up yet. And some companies are discontinuing items that are not their top sellers. So again, $4.99 found in the toy section and sold for $220. Okay, we've got Andrew McGee. Got in a bulk yard sale deal, about $8 into it, sold for $217 in a day. This is a Nintendo DS game, Dragon Quest V, $8, sold for $217. And I want to give a shout out to Andrew McGee because he's a younger guy. And so he came to my group, Stay-at-Home Mom Selling on eBay, and he's not a mom, and he's not even a woman, but he's in there posting all these great finds. And Andrew, if you're listening, I would love to have you on a podcast to talk about your business because you post some high dollar sales and we can learn from you. A lot of us don't do video games or the types of things you sell. So I would love to have that chat if you're willing to share. And if you're not, that's totally fine too. I respect everybody's privacy. Okay, next up is Mark Sherrill. He said, I bought 4 of these at an estate sale a few years ago. I paid $3 each, and this is the last one to sell. Sold for an accepted offer of $265 plus $10 shipping. This is a vintage LL Bean boat tote, and it's in the red color, which might be unusual. I see white ones posted a lot, but red might be harder to find. So $3 and sold for $265. Okay, moving on to Dawn McMaster. She said, free to me from my aunt who was cleaning out her closet. Ka-ching, $185. This is a Nike 90s Space Jam Hair Jordan t-shirt, glow in the dark. Free and sold for $185. Next up is Michelle Martin, who is in Australia. She purchased this in a toy bag at Savers for $5. There was 2 new toys, so $2.50 for this one. Sold for $103.70 US dollars, including shipping. Took 3 weeks to sell. And Michelle is kind of back and forth between Australia and the United States, so she does some sourcing when she's here. So that's why she mentioned Savers and is giving us US dollars on her commentary, but the sale was actually on eBay Australia. Okay, next up is Erin Harry. Picked up on Marketplace for $15 for my grandsons until I looked at comps. Auction win was $157.50. I'm new to selling, so this was huge for me. So congratulations, Erin, for making it into the video. This is a vintage Tonka Mighty Diesel lowboy tractor trailer with bulldozer. $15 and sold for $157.50. Okay, Deborah Peltier. Purchased at Goodwill for $7, sold at auction for $127.50. Vintage 70s white cotton caftan, meaning it's like a long, loose-fitting gown, or they used to call them house dresses. You can tell with the yellow and orange design, that is definitely 70s. Vintage stuff sells so well. I mean, and she didn't mention the brand, and maybe there wasn't one on it, but you can tell when an item was made based on where it was made. So again, $7, sold for $127.50. Now we have Mia. I got these in an auction lot, so cost of goods was $1.12. I couldn't find any sold comps. Only one active listing from some random antique store where they were asking $345 for one, which I felt was overpriced. Listed mine at $199 and took a best offer. Listed for about 3 weeks. They are going to Australia via the global shipping program. The final sale price was $170. Her investment was $1.12. Okay, now we have Alessa Victoria. She purchased this lamp for $11.92 back in January. I was delayed for a week to start a new job, and refusing to go a week without income, I set out to my local watering hole with the thought that I would find something to flip. I turned down several low offers, and it finally sold on best offer for $200 2 weeks ago. I held off on posting this until I was certain all went well. The buyer paid shipping, and this beautiful lamp went back home to Vermont. I also received a glowing review. This is a vintage Simon Pierce Miranda Thomas Bluebirds hand-painted studio art pottery lamp. It cost her just under $12 and sold for $200. Now we have an interesting item from Nikki Tanner. Paid $10, sold for $130 plus shipping and handling. Vintage Lance jar for crackers. Bought at a garage sale in June, listed right away, and took a month and a half to sell for full asking price. And look at that, it's pretty plain. It's just a jar. Clear glass jar with the Lance cracker logo on it. $10, sold for $130. Okay, now we have Amy Hunsinger. She said, this is from an estate sale that my husband and I filled up our SUV to bursting and spent $160 total. This is probably $2 from the haul. The woman had 3 rooms full of cross-stitch supplies. This estate sale was amazing. I could not decide how to sell these because I was worried about shipping and being too high for a buyer. Oh, meaning the shipping would be too high for them to pay. Anyway, decided to sell them all together. There are lots of discontinued colors in here, so buyers wouldn't mind the shipping. Had it listed at $225. I took $205. I love seeing everyone's finds. Happy hunting. So here you can see this is a huge lot of over 1,000 DMC cross-stitch embroidery floss skeins, both new and used. $2 and sold for $205. It probably wasn't that heavy to ship because it's thread, so maybe a couple of pounds, I guess. But crafters and people who do needlework buy all kinds of odds and ends and stuff like this, notions, I guess you could say, all that sewing stuff. It doesn't have to be super organized. Just put it together and see what you get. And a lot of times you get this, a huge sale. Okay, we've got Andrew McGee again. He said this was a yard sale pickup for 50 cents. Took a best offer of $200 after about a week. This shirt was basically destroyed and had tons of holes and tears. If it had been mint, it would have been a $500 or $600 shirt. It is a vintage Nirvana 1992 original silver t-shirt, men's 2 extra large, distressed, with Anvil, that's the brand, tag. So 50 cents, it sold for $200, and he said it was destroyed and had tons of holes and tears. So this vintage stuff, people don't care the condition. Put it out there and see what you get. And I know a lot of you out there struggle with perfectionism, but eBay is not the place for that. Show what you have, put it out there, and wait and see what happens. Moving on to Sharon Granlund. She bought this Ralph Lauren wool blanket NOS, which means new old stock, at an estate sale 2 weeks ago. Nothing was individually priced. You just made a pile and were given a group price. I brought home over 100 items and paid only $165. So all items were $1.65 each. I could not find an exact comp for this, so I priced high at $299 with best offer. I took a best offer of $235 plus shipping. It sold in a week. This is a Ralph Lauren wool blanket, 90 by 90, queen, blue plaid with red serged edge, made in USA. So $1.65, and she sold it for $235. Okay, Marla Sheary. Wow, look at her information. She's got all the data so organized. I appreciate that. So this came from an online auction, a local online auction. The price was $2.88. Was listed for 3 months, sold for $230. Buyer paid shipping of $70. Went from Indiana to California. All metal. No problem. Again, I love the online auctions because of the ease of shopping and research. This is a Simmons MCM, which stands for Mid-Century Modern, metal nightstand end table. And her price was $2.88. She sold it for $230 plus shipping. Excellent. Okay, Mark Sherrill is back. Paid $3 at an estate sale, sold for $220 plus $8 shipping. This is some partially used Clarins EDT fragrance spray, sold for $220. Amy Crane Decker found this fabric at a local church rummage sale. Bought a total of almost 30 yards, paid $5 for all. It was split into 2 sections, each of over 14 yards. Sold the first one for $125 on auction and posted the second one for a buy it now of $199 plus shipping, and it sold almost immediately. Lady asked me if I had any more and was willing to pay the same price. Wish I would have not auctioned off that first one, meaning she could have gotten more. So this is 14 yards of Daisy Kingdom fabric. This was big in the late 80s and early 90s. So $5 for all of it, and this sold for $199. Now we've got Brian Rappaport, paid $5 at a garage sale in December, sold for best offer of $150. And this is Coogie or Coogie, depending on who you listen to, because I looked up what is the correct pronunciation, and I got a whole bunch of different answers. So I'm calling it Coogie, and if you want to comment on that, go right ahead. Anyway, multicolored women's sweater, vintage 90s, sold for $150. He paid $5 for it. Jenny Baum. She says, August is off to a good start. Paid $6.75 at a thrift store, sold in 5 days. I worked hard to take great photos, which showed off the sleeves. It paid off. Yes, you did a great job on that, Jenny. I like how you have that one raised up so you can see the beautifully shaped bell sleeve. This is a vintage 70s maxi dress, small, floral, lace, cottagecore, romantic. She's got all those keywords in there. Sold for $100, and she paid $6.75. Okay, Lisa Bambachi. I got it right this time. Okay, she bought 4 of these emergency food tubs at an online estate auction for $13. They all sold within 3 days. There were lots with 20 and more, but I didn't bid on the larger lots as they are 21 pounds each and didn't want to carry, lift, ship, and store them all. Thankfully, they were in their original boxes to ship easier. So this is 4-week emergency food supply. This is a big thing for the doomsday preppers or lots of different groups of people buy this type of item. That would be a whole nother video to explain that. But emergency food tubs. So $13 and sold for $143.10. Okay, now we've got Tammy Burke, purchased from a yard sale last year for $5, but just got around to listing. Sold for best offer in approximately 3 weeks. I also included a YouTube video showing that it works. This was the first time ever including a video in a listing. Praying now that UPS will deliver in one piece. This is a vintage German cuckoo clock. And yes, you can include video in your listing. I have a lesson on that in the premium library if you want to learn how to do that the Suzanne way, meaning the way I explain it. Of course, you can always go out on the internet and get that information on your own, but it's very helpful when selling items that move or make a sound or have multiple parts to show a video that it does actually work. Then your buyer doesn't have to wonder about that. You know, you're showing, yeah, this works. Here's what it does. Here's how it sounds. And that really builds confidence with the buyer and helps sell your item. Moving on to Catherine. And I'm sorry, Catherine, but I do not know how to pronounce your last name. So let me know. She got this at a rummage sale for 50 cents. My sister found it first, but when she learned what I could get for it, she gave it to me. Sold it for best offer of $165. This is a large, vintage, woven, textile wall hanging. And wow, you have an amazing sister. That was so generous of her. I hope you gave her a little tip for passing this on to you, or at least took her out to lunch or something. What a great find. Okay, Dawn McMaster paid $1 at an estate sale where I purchased a large bag full of stuff for $1 a piece. Sold for $215. Christian Dior black lace nylon bustier. $1 sold for $215. And now we have Janae Brookins, paid $2 for both at an estate sale on Friday, sold in 3 days. This color is very hard to find. This is 2 fanciful temporary hair color rinse. And I remember my mother using this stuff when she was, I don't know, 30s and 40s, doing the fanciful color. And these bottles were everywhere in our house, under like every bathroom cabinet, because I feel like the moment she spotted a gray hair, she used this stuff. But hey, you know, it's a good product. It covers up the gray and it extends your hair color. So $4 investment, sold for $100 along with a little trip down memory lane. Ken Bryant purchased this Daft Punk double album vinyl at a yard sale 2 weeks ago. I actually left, went to my car, and looked it up. I then went back and picked it up for $5. Sold just today for full asking price of $185 plus shipping. I love that. Yes, you can run out to your car and look things up on your phone and be very stealth about it if you are self-conscious about doing that anywhere. Garage sale, estate sale, in a thrift store. You know, it's okay to go check on it and come back later. You just hope the item will still be there. So $5, and it's sold for $185. And now we've got Lisa Acosta. Was just lamenting that I hadn't had any big sales lately. Then two came in almost back to back. First, this Tiffin cigar ashtray, $5.99 plus tax at a thrift store. This was a serious chunk of glass. It weighed over 6 pounds. No markings. I used Google Lens to identify. Sold in 6 days for full asking price of $148 plus shipping. This is a Tiffin Twilight art glass bowl or cigar ashtray. $6, sold it for $148. And then we've got another one from Lisa. I had never heard of this brand Avant Toi, but the quality was so good. Very fine cashmere on the front and silk on the back. Paid $6.99 at a thrift store, sold in 13 days for full asking price of $128 plus shipping. So you can see this is a sweater, silk and cashmere with a scarf. It looks like the scarf is on the back. And again, $6.99, sold for $128. And we've got Brian Rappaport, paid $5 at a thrift store in May, sold for $199.99 plus $55 shipping to a buyer in Switzerland. This is a Hewlett-Packard Business Consultant calculator in the original box. $5, sold for $200. Okay, Maureen Sparvieri. I sold this 60s to 70s Little People Fisher-Price castle and accessories for full asking price of $110. This was listed for about 1 week. She says seller paid the shipping, but actually I think she means buyer paid the shipping, which was $18.86 by FedEx home delivery. I did have some lowball offers, but declined. This was given to me by a family member who was cleaning out all of their old toys. Been a good month selling old Barbie and other dolls they gave me. This was the highest price item. So again, it is a Fisher-Price Little People castle with accessories and some little people. $110, and it was given to her. Jennifer Melody. Free to me, this Squishmallow stuffed animal, rare, jazzy giraffe, Valentine edition, 2018. Sold in 2 days for best offer of $140. Originally set at $170. Buyer paid $14.99 shipping. Niece was cleaning out her room and threw away all her stuffed animals in the trash bin, but her mom knows I resell. Pulled items out of the trash and gave them to me. I did have to research for an hour or so, but well worth it. Sold to a little girl in New York who was ecstatic to have found it. So it is a Squishmallow, which is a plush, $140. So this is a limited edition because it's Valentine edition 2018. So this is perfect for a collector who's trying to get all of them because this won't be made anymore because 2018 is over. So it can't be Valentine's 2018 again. And this is why I'm really starting to love Plush because so many of them are limited edition or there's such an emotional connection between a child and a plush or stuffed animal that, I mean, you really can't put a price on it. Sometimes these sell for just insanely crazy prices because it's all about making that child happy. So obviously you're going to price at what the market is, but keep that in mind if you're not looking at the plush. And side note, I am working on a plush course for my premium library, which will be coming out in the near future, because this is really an overlooked niche. These things are usually so cheap at thrift stores, and there's just no way that thrift stores are going to mark these up because there's so many of them. It's just, here's a picture of what my Goodwill looks like in the plush aisle. All of them I go to look like this. And yeah, I will stand there for an hour going through every single one, because that's how you find these huge scores is, you have to look at all of them. How else are you going to find it? So anyway, great sale, Jennifer. Okay, moving on to Kathleen Gifford. I sold this set of Hallmark 12 Months of Fun 12 Peanuts Gang ornaments. I included the display shelf as a bonus. This was from my personal collection, bought all the ornaments at half price. I stayed firm with my price of $150 plus shipping. I am trying to downsize and my kids have no interest. Took about 4 months to sell. What a cute set. So this was her personal collection and she sold it for $150. And it wouldn't be a $100 Supersize video without KC Vetterly. He actually emailed me and said, hey, you don't have to put all my sales in the video because he has so much stuff over $100. So I'm also trying to get him to do a podcast so he can tell us all his secrets, or at least secrets he wants to share. So we're working on that. Anyway, he says, a remote from my death pile. I remember the estate sale I purchased it at, but not the price. I just grabbed a whole pile of remotes and paid maybe $10 or so. I purchased a lot of high-end electronics, so I knew there had to be some gold in the remotes. Sold this one for $150 in about 2 weeks. This is Ariel Acoustics milled aluminum audiophile stereo speakers remote control, new, $150. And Michelle Martin is back. She is in Australia. So this Money Making Mondays and $100 Supersize, this is a global operation, everybody. So no matter where you are, you can participate. She purchased these at a discount store here in Australia 7 years ago for $24 for the set. Just sold my last set for $185 plus postage. This one is off to California. I have sold 16 sets in total, now mostly to USA and UK. Very collectible and hard to find. Hot Wheels, Grateful Dead, Pop Culture Series complete set. And this sold for 185 Australian dollars, which converts to 135 US dollars. Linda Arnold. And by the way, Linda, I love your profile picture. It just makes me want to have some coffee. Okay, paid $35 at a local online auction, sold for $200 within 1 day of listing. I don't usually pay up for art since I know so little about it, but I felt sure there would be interest in this artist. I never found comps on this particular print, but tried to price on the higher end of similar pieces. Not going to worry that it sold fast. I'm going to be happy to have found the right buyer. This is Charles Beckendorf Bob White Quail, hand watercolored, signed, and framed. $200, and she paid $35. Next up is Penny Blunk. Frames were in my death pile, purchased at an auction for $20 for the pair. Had them listed for 2 weeks, sold at full asking price plus $45 to ship. Antique, vintage, gesso, oak, wood picture frame pair. $20, sold for $195. Now here is a fun item. Billy Lynn Wilson purchased this rare Hamburglar pendulum wall clock at an estate sale on Sunday, the last day, for 50 cents. Okay, 50 cents for this fun Hamburglar clock. Only comp was on Worth Point for question mark. So like she didn't even go into Worth Point to figure that out. I used a quote from the description concerning how rare the item was. The clock had condition issues. The pendulum mechanism for the legs was broken. The clock mechanism didn't work. There were tiny chips of paint missing. The woman who had owned it was a McDonald's store operator and a member of the Women's Operator Association based on other items I was able to pick. I decided to auction the clock. Auction started on Monday at midnight Pacific Standard Time, starting at $99. Really not a good time to start an auction. It sat at $101 for most of the week. In the last hours, the pinging began and woke me up. Final bid was $241.50. And let me make a note about what she said as far as not a good time to start an auction. I don't believe that. Any time is a good time. What people do is they use sniping tools. So there's different services you can use. One of them is called Gixen, Gixen, and there's Auction Snipe, and there's a whole bunch of them. And basically what you do is you enter your highest bid into this third-party service, which interfaces with eBay. But your bid does not get placed until like the last 30 seconds. So even though you're not physically seeing bids on the item throughout the days of the auction, that doesn't mean people aren't interested, because the philosophy is that bids encourage more bids, which is great if you're a seller. But if you're a buyer, you don't want the price to go up. So by bidding on it early in the game, all you're doing is, it's a self-defeating situation, because you're causing the price of the item to go up. So as she said, it sat for $101 most of the week. In the last hours, the pinging began and woke me up. So these third-party auction sniping tools are designed to place the bid, your highest bid that you tell it to enter, to place that bid in the last seconds of the auction. And it may not go up to your maximum bid. It only bids enough to outbid the highest bidder. That's a lot of bidding in that sentence. It only bids enough to outbid the highest bidder. So your maximum bid may not be placed. So if you're doing auctions and you're not seeing activity until the very end, more than likely that's what's happening. It's not really necessarily people on their computer or their phones bidding right there as a human. It's these third-party services. And it's also a great way to get things to sell. If you see an item out there that is on auction and it's got a really low price on it, but you know better because you have experience with that item, don't bid on it as a human. Use these auction sniping tools to try to get it if you want to flip it, sell it on Facebook Marketplace or sell it right back on eBay or whatever you want to do. So I feel like maybe some of you guys don't know that because you feel like, oh, it was a bad time to start the auction, and that's not really the case. There's a lot of automation going on behind the scenes. Okay, Carla Keister found a vintage Molly American Girl doll plus a bunch of American Girl accessories and clothes at the Goodwill bins. She was in nondescript white box that others passed right on by. Paid about $15 for all of it. Sold on auction in a week, and her final selling price was $284.99, and that was a $15 investment. Jennifer Elliott bought a box off Marketplace of Playmobil pieces for about $35. I could see a couple of pieces in the box from the seller's pictures, and after research, decided it was probably the Victorian Mansion set. I was fortunate. The whole house plus extras was there. My 11-year-old daughter and I put all the sets in the house together. 9 months and 50 watchers later, it finally sold. Final selling price was $328 for a $35 investment. Okay, Carla Keister is back. Bought this print at an estate sale for $17. Thought it was interesting and also saw that it was signed and dated by the artist plus the Native American Southwest theme, so I thought I would take a chance. I couldn't find any listed, so I listed it for $499 with offer and accepted an offer of $350. Took about a year to sell. And this is David with a really long last name that I'm not going to attempt. Art print Elements of the Earth, signed and framed. $17, sold for $350. Brian Rappaport paid $1 at an estate sale late Friday morning, sold overnight for $379.99. Evidently, a piece from this calculator has a tie-in with the original Star Wars movie. This is an Exactra vintage calculator made by Texas Instruments. So take a look at that. It's red with white buttons. It has a tie-in to Star Wars, and I have seen this before, and they have Star Wars in the title. So I don't know what that's about. If you do, please comment so we can all be in the know. Okay, Siobhan Ramirez got this for $297 at my Salvation Army. 7-day auction just ended at $405. There's only been one other sold in the last year. That one was in new condition with tags and sold for $310. Mine had some staining on the interior wing, but I knew how scarce this was. And this is our cover photo for this month. Be patriotic. Sam Eagle Muppet Vision 3D Plush Walt Disney World toy. She paid $297. It sold for $405. This is what gets me excited about Plush because there's so many out there that can sell for so much money. Okay, Brian has another one. Paid $20 for both of these wireless microphones at a garage sale last weekend. Sold the pair for $740. Always check anything from the brand Shure, S-H-U-R-E. And then Jeff Campbell says, $20? That's an insanely low price for these. Retail is sky high for these Shure mics. And Brian said, exactly why I bought them. So $20 sold for $740. Okay, here's another high dollar sale. Joy Schofield Brown. And she says, oh my God, this is the first for me. I bought this t-shirt at a garage sale so long ago, I don't even know how much it was. I'm talking 20 years or more. I wore it once and then someone wanted to buy it. I go to list it today and was going to put $60 on it, but of course I researched and see it from $200 to a very rare one at $3,500. What? I debated so long what to list it for. Looks like starting price was $500 with a buy it now for $750. Not expecting anything, sold in 7 minutes for $750. Already had 23 watchers. Hubby says I should have sold for more. Why? I'm thrilled and shocked that someone paid this for it. This is a vintage 80s Harley Davidson 3D emblem Hog Power t-shirt. So this was like, she doesn't even know how much she paid, probably not much, and flipped it for $750. But this was in your closet the whole time for 20 years. And you just pulled it out and just now listed it. So it probably appreciated over those 20 years. So don't beat yourself up about that. Okay, and the final sale in this video is Terry Gonzalez. Purchased 10 of these, all very similar, factory sealed kit cars from an estate sale a couple of weeks ago. Terrified to spend this kind of money on these because there were not comps on most of them, but the few that I did see comps on were very high. I took a chance and spent $3,200 for all 10. I've sold 5 of them in the first 2 weeks. So she gives us several screenshots of her sales, so let me go through these. This one is, she paid $357 for this one. It sold for $3,199 plus shipping. The next one she paid $536 for. It sold for $2,500 plus shipping. And sorry, these are a little fuzzy, but these are screenshots of her screenshots. So you can come to the group and talk to Terry about these if you want more information. This one, $536, sold for $1,800 plus shipping. This one, she paid $325, sold for $1,499.99 plus shipping. And finally, this one, she paid $276. It sold for $899.99. So, Terry, I would love an accounting of the final prices on these when you get all of them sold. Like you said, you spent $3,200 for all of them, but once they all sell, I would love to know your profit on this buy, because this is outstanding. I don't think I ever remember seeing somebody posting this many sales in a row on a lot of items that they bought all together. So congratulations on being the, I guess, the outstanding sale. We should have called this the Terry Gonzalez video, but just amazing that you sold all of these so quickly and recovered your initial investment pretty fast. Okay, that wraps up another edition of eBay Supersize sales of $100 or more. And a lot of these were more than $100, so that is just really impressive. Thanks to everybody who participates and keeps this thread going, because it really does encourage other sellers, especially new people that haven't ever had these big scores before. But in every thread, every month, we see people that say, this is my first $100 sale. So if it hasn't happened to you yet, it will. These videos are the proof. This stuff is out there. You can find it, and it's available to anybody who wants to do this business. Thanks so much for watching and for sticking with me to the end, and have a profitable and productive day on eBay. See you next time. Bye.